It is scheduled for October 8th through the 21st of 2026. So it is more than a year and a half away, which is good. That means we have plenty of time to plan things and, make payments if people want to make payment plans or, um, you know, it's just spread out a lot more and we can really get everything together. It's a beautiful trip. We have, all the information on the website already. So it does give you a breakdown of every day, where we are and what we're doing. So I just don't want to go over all of that here. I will say that everybody will be flying in on their own, whatever you want. Some people have points they like to use, and other people, have miles, frequent flyers, whatever. So the thing is going to be that we are starting on the 8th of October, and it's up to you whether you want to fly in that night. I want to say the 8th of October, just for those of you kind of making notes about all of this stuff. You have to arrive by 5 p.m. in Cairo. Um, we're not particularly doing anything. We just need to get everybody there by the 8th at 5 p.m. So a lot of people will probably be traveling on the 8th and arriving on the 8th and then getting to the hotel and kind of grounding. We'll start on the 9th on the Giza Plateau. We start between the paws of the Sphinx and we're on the Giza Plateau and we see Saqqara and some other things in that area. So for your, planning or what you're thinking, if, it is early to look into flights. I wouldn't worry about that right now, but when you get to the point where you want to, you have one of two options, and that's to arrive on the 8th at any time. We are going to have somebody pick you up at the airport and escort you. So once you arrive in Cairo, you're only going to have to get off the plane and someone's going to be there looking for you, help escort you through immigration and get you to the hotel. Some of you, and by the way, that's what I did when I went a couple of years ago, and I just got there that day. Some of you might decide you want to come an extra day early because you want more than that just one night to ground or whatever. So if anybody does decide that they want to arrive an extra day, it's an extra fee obviously for another night if you wanted to come in on the 7th, but I can arrange that for you in the same hotel. So that's just something to think about. Um, but the whole tour, what I want to really relate to everybody, it's more, way, way more than just a trip or a vacation. The things that we're going to be privileged to do are not what most people will do when they go to Egypt. You can book a trip and go to Egypt, you can see some things and be home in a few days. What we're doing is an initiation. We're going into the temples with specific intentions. Um, there's three particular things that are unique to this tour that most people don't do. The first one is being between the paws of the Sphinx. If you were to just go to Egypt, you would be up on a platform and you would be looking down at the Sphinx, but you would never get to touch it. You wouldn't be in with it. You wouldn't have the opportunity to really be initiated into this journey the way that we're going to. We're going to be having a very private meditation and an event there. So that's number one. The second thing is Philae. So we're going to be cruising down the Nile. We're going to fly into Cairo. We'll be in Cairo for a couple of days, and then we're going to fly south to Aswan. Aswan is where they, many, many years ago, they put that dam in. So all the crocodiles are below Aswan. We're going to be going through the Nile where there's no crocodiles. So if that was scaring you, no worries. They're not where we are. They're below the Aswan Dam. But we fly into Aswan, and then we will be in a private yacht, a Hadil, and we'll be going up the Nile. Well, it's down, but it looks up, but it's down. Um, the Nile is one of the only rivers in the world that travels that way, that it actually runs this way instead of this way. So it's a very unique river, and the temples that are alongside, we're going to be basically sailing the Nile and then docking to a temple or a town and sailing. It's just gorgeous. We'll see sunsets on the Nile. We'll eat dinner and breakfast on our boat, and then during the day we'll have these like pops of excursions where we drop into these different temples. And Philae is Isis's temple, and it was actually moved a slight distance from where it was because it was underwater. So they brick by brick moved it up. And when you see how enormous the structure is, and you realize what an endeavor, what a feat that was to move this just a little bit. Some people are upset that it was moved, but it would be unseen. It would be underwater. So what they did was they moved it just a little bit up a little bit into the landscape so that it's now not underwater. And we are going to arrive there pre-dawn, before the enormous amounts of crowds that arrive there. And we're going to have a private and exclusive meditation inside Isis's temple um, before the tourists arrive. So that's the second important thing that most people won't see. Most people see Philae littered with tourists. And by the time we leave, when you see all the boats coming up, we're going to be like, oh, thank God we did that early. And then the third thing that we're going to do that's quite different is at the end of the trip, we'll sail up to Luxor. And then from Luxor, we're going to fly back to Cairo. And the last full day, we're going to start in the morning going inside the Great Pyramid. And we're going to be inside the King's Chamber, the Queen's Chamber and the King's Chamber, for about 2 hours for a private group healing meditation. So those three things, the Paws of the Sphinx, the Philae, and the Inside the Great Pyramid, they're really set this apart from something that you could just fly over and do yourself. But additionally, let me see if I can find this. The Nile River, for those of you that are familiar with the yoga and the yoga practice, the central channel, the Sushumna Nadi, where all the chakras are aligned in the center of the body. The Nile River aligns with the Sushumna Nadi. And so can you see on the right is a picture of a yogi or somebody in meditation. There's that line down the center representing the central channel, and all of the chakras, the energy centers, are seated inside. The Nile River on the left mimics very much the nadis and the human body. And so there are several temples that correspond to different chakra centers, to different energy centers. So what I'm going to be doing is kind of guiding you through this process of moving through your own energy centers. And so some people may wish to just kind of go and just experience some of the temples and Egypt and keep it light, and that's totally up to you. But I am going to have daily meetups, and it depends on where we are and what day, whether we meet in the morning or the evening, to tell you, okay, we're going to Edfu temple, and Edfu is the temple of Horus, and this corresponds to the solar plexus chakra. And so while we're in here, if we have an opportunity to do this sort of a meditation or something, which is quite privileged in some of these temples, they don't allow many things. But whether or not we do something as a group, you'll have you'll have your own time to kind of experience after we tour the temple, this energy center and what you feel, and possibly have an experience or a healing for yourself. So it's more than just going on a trip. It's more than a vacation. You can take it at that level if you want it, but I'm designing this to do a full energy clearing and healing for everyone. And you can have the opportunity to tap into that as deeply as you want. Um, and I'm available for, for all of that for whoever is interested. I I've guided many groups in the past and to many, many places. Some of you have been with me. Irene's been with me in Peru and Mount Shasta. Carolyn and I have traveled a lot together over the years to many places. And you were on my retreat in Greece, I think was the last one, right? So you guys know every group is different. And so once I see who everybody is, I'm able to really kind of judge what things we can do when and where. And some of that also applies to what we're allowed to do in certain places. So I'm keeping it kind of like I'm not predetermining exact things until we get a lot closer. And then I see exactly who's traveling with us and what we're able to do. But again, you can keep it as light as you want. You can just enjoy the scenery and take it all in and uh, take naps when we have optional meetings or whatever you want. Otherwise, you can really tap into the whole experience of it with me. So before I go any further, are there any questions about anything that I've said or brought up?
So I guess mine, it's not really a question, but the last time we had the meeting, last year, you had mentioned about the private sessions that we have when we go down in, but you didn't explain what it's like down in there.
So there are a couple of places when we're in Giza. Saqqara is the step pyramid, and we will go underneath the step pyramid in Saqqara. It's very open, and there's like support beams and things that have put there. You don't really have to crawl through anything. To get into the king's chamber and the queen's chamber in the Great Pyramid, in the you have to kind of walk up the side of the pyramid, and then you go in and you're walking straight and tall. Then when it starts the incline, I don't know if you've ever seen the inside diagram of the pyramid, but if this is the base and this is where we enter, the king and the queen's chambers up, right towards the point. They're like up here. So there's a narrow passageway that has a board and rails, and you have to walk up, but you can't walk up straight. You either have to crouch down or bend over to walk up. So I'm not going to say it's easy, but what I want to say is it's an opportunity, first of all, to be inside the pyramid and experience that energy is exceptional. It's like nothing you will ever experience anywhere else in your life. And it's almost like rebirthing. It's like going through the birthing canal. It's like your old self going through this birthing canal and then really rebirthing into something completely different. So it's on an energetic and spiritual level, it is I mean, I was so energized. I didn't even care how I was getting in there. I was going.
Cool.
You know? But you certainly can stay outside with the guides if you feel, there's many people that said they were claustrophobic. They all made it in, you know? And it's like you go in and you breathe and you know that you feel supported and you know that you're okay and you make it through. That there is a visa requirement for US citizens to get into Egypt, but it's super easy. It's not something you have to apply for ahead of time. You get a
Okay.
tourist visa right at the airport. It was $30 around there. By 2026, could it go up? Maybe, things like that always change. But so when you're picked up, when the guide or whoever we have scheduled to pick up you from your plane or your group from the plane, they'll guide you right to immigration, get you through, get your visas, pick up your luggage for you, and then whisk you off to the hotel. One of the things we're going to be doing when we travel is we're going to be holding that energetic space for planetary peace and healing because when we travel to these power places on the planet, go with intention, and we have to hold that beam of healing and light when we enter these places because it's like we're plugging in energetically to as to this power source, and it's receiving our energy just like we're receiving its energy. So we have this really important job to do when we travel, and that's hold that light, that beam for this planetary healing. So I'll be guiding you through those sorts of things. It's really important, it's significant because we're experiencing a time on our planet like we never have before and probably never will again. And so all of us, we've all chosen to live through this time. So it's our job, it's our job to be a light. Yeah, Carolyn?
Two things. One, given that it's an Islamic country, is there like a recommended dress code? Like, you know, they don't really want women wearing shorts or things like that.
Well, it's not any different than most places when you travel to temples and churches. You're required to have your shoulders covered. Usually you could put like a scarf around your shoulders if you wanted. So I wore a lot of linen and I wore short sleeve shirts. And then I had a long sleeve shirt that I put on when I went into the temples and then I took it off. So you could either have like a button down long sleeve that you took on and off, or a shawl or scarf. And then I had long pants. I had long linen pants on. And that's what most people did wear.
Much higher level, but will there be time for shopping?
Yes.
Okay.
You know me. You've
Well,
traveled with
that's what
me.
I thought, but I was like, well, Tracy's doing this whole healing thing. Maybe, she's moving away from the more capitalistic aspects of traveling. But no, okay.
No, I'm all about supporting local businesses.
Good. That's good. Okay, cool.
Couple of things. At the at the tail end of the trip. Well, first of all, Luxor, we're going to be hitting a market in Luxor. There's a lot of things you can buy there that I highly recommend. Um, a lot of the temples do have like, the people that set up the things outside on the ground and stuff, whether it's paintings or carvings or jewelry. So there's always like something that you can get at different temples. The market in Luxor will be a thing that we'll do. And then in Cairo, we're going to visit, most likely, we're going to visit a um, essential oil company, and they're going to show us how they make their essential oils, which you can buy like the Blue Lotus oil that's famous for Egypt, or frankincense, or whatever the stuff you want. Um, we also will visit, I think, oh, it's in Luxor. There's a particular jewelry store that we'll go to in Luxor because we're in Luxor for a few days at the hotel once we get off the boat. We traveled to Abydos and Dendara and around Luxor from the one hotel. So we're kind of on land for a few days. And there were some people, like, it's in walking distance from the hotel. It's like a couple blocks down. So, and if there's something particular that you're looking for, that you've heard, oh, I need to get this or look into that, then let me know and I'll make sure that EHAB gets us to. Yeah, so basically, for those of you interested, there's a couple different things you can do. One would be, I have an enrollment form that I can send you. You can fill that in and send it in with a $500 deposit, and that locks you in. In the event that there is some reason that the whole trip needs to be canceled, you would obviously get that back. But I would recommend getting traveler's insurance, because if there's like an emergency that arises, that's how you would, that's how you get tour money back. There are on the website, it tells you when 50% of the money is due, and then when the final money is due. Those dates are on the website. Um, you can send them to me. I prefer check, but there is the option to do credit card. So if somebody's like, well, I really want to do it because then I'll have points and I might have enough points to get a free airline ticket. So I get it. So if you want to do that, and you want to do it on a credit card, that's fine too. On the website, you can go into the event and you can pay your deposit right there. There's a link right for that option. So, once, we get going, we'll have other meetings. So whoever is enrolled and whoever is coming, we will meet a couple of times online before we go. There'll be, again, coordination once you get your airfare, so I can, oh, you're on a flight with so and so, or you're both traveling, you're on different flights, but you're both at the airport if you want to, go together. So things like that, I'll try to coordinate with you. If again, if you want to go in early and you want an extra night on the front end or extra time on the back end, you let me know. I can coordinate that for you for additional, fee as well. I don't have that. I don't know what an extra night here or there would be, but I can coordinate it with you if that's something you're interested in. Get comfortable. You can sit or you can lay down. And you're going to close your eyes. We're going to just set some intentions. So go ahead and find that comfortable place. And once your eyes are closed, you're going to take just a few deep breaths in and out of your nose. Let go of your mind. Let go of your body. And just feel the breath flowing in and out through the nostrils, nice and gentle. And feeling the breath as cool inhalation and a warm exhalation. And continuing to slowly breathe and visualizing yourself as lying down on a raft, drifting in the water. And if you feel like being in a big boat drifting in the water, then put yourself in a big boat. But feel yourself slowly moving with the water, rising and falling. A gentle breeze creating little ripples in the water, just enough to make your boat go up and down, and creating this very soothing, relaxing sensation. And letting the breeze continue to carry you on the water, passing by palm trees, beautiful, lush landscapes. And in the distance, some beautiful prayers wafting through the air. And you feel perfectly at peace, content, and safe. As you continue to drift, in the distance, you see what appears to be a temple rising on the right side of the shore. And you can see the beautiful stones. And as you approach this temple, as your raft or your boat slowly moves towards the temple, more and more comes into view. The large carvings of the goddess, the hieroglyphs etched into the sides of the temple, the archways, the pillars, and a monumental doorway. And so you decide to push off the raft or the boat onto the temple grounds. And with every step that you take, your foot on the temple floor feels solid and welcoming. You pass the hall of columns and enter through that colossal doorway with the etchings of the goddess on either side. Isis, the mother. And as you enter through the doorway, you feel her welcome. And you continue through the smaller part of the temple, all the way back into her private sanctuary, where a pedestal still sits. The goddess and her boat once would have sat on top. Today, what remains is just the pedestal. So you place your hands on this limestone pedestal, imagining what it would have been like to be here in its heyday. And as you consider what it would have been like, you are suddenly struck with this sensation that the goddess is still very much present. She wraps her arms around you in a mother's embrace and welcomes you to this chamber and tells you to leave inside whatever is creating a heaviness in your heart. And she offers to take that heaviness from you. And perhaps it's with little tears, or maybe it's with laughter and joy that you hand over that heaviness in your heart to the Mother Goddess Isis and her sister Nephthys. As Isis is the sun, Nephthys is the moon. As Isis is birth, Nephthys is death. Nephthys takes that heaviness from your heart and, in a way that only she can, dissolves it with light. Isis places her hands right over your heart, energizing it with a newness. With a rebirth, with a healing. And you take a few moments to breathe into this new space in your heart. A space that you've created by letting go of something heavy. And you feel more love pouring in. Self-love, a mother's love, pure divine love. You thanking the goddesses for being so gracious, blessing you with this new space to carry the highest loving energy within your own heart. And before you leave the temple, you decide to leave a small token of your appreciation. On the pedestal, you could leave whatever you want. It could be a stone from your pocket, a bracelet that you're wearing. It could be an eyelash or one strand of your hair. Whatever it is, you place that offering on the pedestal, bowing one more time to the goddess before slowly making your way out of her chamber and back through the halls of the temple, seeing the colossal door and the light of the sun from outside shining in. guiding your way out. You step back out and follow that long line of columns back down to the water. You get back in your boat or your raft. Push off from the temple shore and begin to drift again down the river. Noticing that it feels a little different, that the raft is floating more effortlessly now that you've left behind something heavy. The winds are in your favor, and they continue to guide you to some of the most beautiful places that you've ever been, allowing you to experience life with a whole new take, a feeling of love for all that walk on the planet with you. So take a few moments to breathe deeper into your body. And feel into the space around you. Maybe stretch your body or wiggle your fingers and toes, coming back to this present moment. Whenever you feel ready but not rushed, you can begin to gently open your eyes, coming back from that beautiful journey and joining us back on Zoomland.